What's up, guys? Josh Lau here with the Card Guys, and today we're bringing something a little bit different to you guys. We're going to be showing you guys a coaching session that I did recently with a student named Bruno from Brazil. He's a fairly new player to the game, just been playing a couple months, and he's been playing Dorinthea mostly. And so this is basically, how a typical coaching session with me goes. We talk a little bit about the deck list that he was playing, the deck list that I've been playing, talk a little bit about the matchups and the approach to the matchups. We did a lot of this, through Discord typing chat, but we do go over a few of the matchups over voice, and then we play a couple of games. So we play a game against Lexi, and we play a game against Dash. So, yep, just like a little peek behind the curtain here. So, yeah, if you guys are interested in coaching, let me know. If not, enjoy this video. All right. So I guess let's just jump into it. So, you contacted me and told me that you were a player that has just been playing for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, and you're from Brazil and you want to, learn how to play Dorinthea at a higher level.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
you hope on playing maybe for the next national season or the next ProQuest season. So let's take a look at the deck list that you've been running, and then I'll go through it a little bit, and then I'll talk about the deck list that I've been running, and then we can kind of compare that.
Yeah, sure.
So let's see here. Okay, so I pulled up your other list. Maybe, okay, so I'll share my screen. Maybe that'll be easier. Let's see. So I'll share this with you. Okay, so yeah, you can see it, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
see it.
this is your list that you've been running. Do you normally play this at like an armory level, and have you played it any RTNs?
I have played one, but
Mm-hmm.
with little experience in the format at all. I had played
Fair
like
enough. Mm-hmm.
my first CC Harmony on a Friday, and on
Mm-hmm.
the next morning I was in
Sure.
the RTN.
Wow.
Just to get experience. Yeah, of course. I knew
Yeah.
I wasn't contending
Mm-hmm.
for a top four
Mm-hmm.
for a place in the nationals, but to get the experience and see
That's
how it would
Yep.
go.
That's totally fine. Yeah, Dorinthia is a deck that definitely rewards experience. And even though I've played Dorinthia, 1,000 times, I'm still learning things. So there's a lot of things that you can learn
Exactly.
over time. Okay, so your equipment suite looks pretty normal. Jubil is a little bit of a this is a this is a weapon that I think is better in Blitz, mainly because Icelander can play around it really well, and Kano um, can just set up. So the way that Kano kills you in Blitz is they chip you down. So Jubil is very good against Kano in Blitz. But the way that Kano
Mhm.
kills you in Classic Constructed is they set up several potions. They might set up a potion of Deja Vu, and then they execute a Blazing Aether combo. So the spell void wouldn't really help you in that case. But this is it's still a good weapon in Blitz, but I wouldn't be running it in Classic Constructed. Um,
Okay.
I do see you have AB1, which is good because you're respecting Icelander and Kano. That's quite nice. Um, as for your list, this list looks fairly stock. It is a list that looks very, very similar to the Battle Hardened Charlotte list that I was running, and the Pro Tour list that I was running. So this includes a lot of cards like Out for Blood, Puncture, Stroke of Foresight. There's a pair of Overpowers. You're running 5 shunts. Uh, yeah, looks
Mhm.
looks very, very solid. This looks like you even had room for Syncbala, which is nice as well. So this is actually a very good list to get a feel for all of the cards that Warrior has. Um, But this list is, I think, slightly outdated in its build, mainly because the metagame has shifted towards having a lot of D-Reacts. So, did you notice
Mm.
at your armories and at the RTN you went to that there was quite a few D-Reacts in the format?
Yeah, there were a lot of them, and
Yes,
some.
especially the Sink Below, right? Like every deck basically had
Yeah,
Sink Below except Lexi, right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
this card is really, really, really strong against our deck,
Hmm.
because obviously 3 is less than 4.
Yeah,
Um,
indeed.
so oftentimes, the way that the energy curve works for Dorinthea, you would have to keep an extra card to swing again, right? So you would have to have a 4 or 5 card hand to have a go again plus a pump, and that's gets shut down by Sink Below. So this build is actually a build that would be better in a format with less D-Reacts, and we might be moving to that format. We'll see, because with Oldhim leaving, uh,
Mm.
we anticipate that the metagame will get a little bit slower because Lexi will start putting in more ice cards.
Hmm.
So it's possible that some decks start cutting their D-Reacts, especially if Azalea and Bravo are not very prevalent. We might actually see a format where um, most aggro decks are not even running Sync Below, which would be nice for us. So this build is a build that could come back later, and I think it's a good build to learn. Like you learn what the main tools of Warrior are. One of the good websites to go to is uh, yeah,
Fabric. Yeah.
fabrec.gg. So um, let's take a look here. So I don't know if you've been to fabrec.gg. They're a sponsor of the Card Guys. But also, this is a
Hmm.
great place to learn like what cards are seeing play. Like these cards are all staples, so your deck contains most of them. I guess your deck wasn't
Hmm.
running Sharp and Steel. I don't think you were running Hit and Run. But yeah, your deck has the core correct, and you were playing with most of the tools, so you know you got to experience a lot of the common play patterns, which is good. So you have a base for the deck, which I think is good. Um, were there some difficulties that you were running into playing this deck that you would like to bring up? Maybe I can help you with that. And then
Yeah.
after that, we can go to the deck that I've been using recently.
Yeah. Sure. There are actually a few things.
Sure.
Sometimes, as you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
actually, uh, I use usually the pump to block
Mm-hmm.
and play a 3 card hand.
Sure.
And oftentimes it's not enough to go through their defenses,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So
A what type of 3 card hands were you keeping? Were you keeping like
yeah, would be something like spoils or valor and a blue,
mm-hmm,
and sometimes uh, I don't know, response. I don't know.
mm-hmm,
Uh, it
sure.
would change, right?
Mm-hmm,
Because sometimes I was able to make a hit with a 1 cost pump,
mm-hmm,
but I wouldn't have energy for a secondary hit in
correct.
that case, right?
Yes. So there are 2 ways to get around that issue. The first
Hmm.
way is to play with the Fendelspring Tunic. So that means
Yeah.
that every 3 turns you can go with Valor, Out for Blood, Swing Swing. So that's 4 energy, right? That's one way to do it. The other way to do
Yeah.
it is to actually just configure your deck so you don't have these cards in them. So you're not
Hmm.
tempted to even play them. That is the other way to do it. I guess there's a third way. You could also run energy potions, but I think energy potions better supplement overpower rather than out for blood and stroke of foresight and puncture. That's just a common problem that Dorinthea runs into, is that unless you're running 0 cost go agains, which is literally only hit and run, uh, where is it?
Yeah,
Yep.
the blue one.
Yep. The blue one. Also the yellow and red. So unless you're running this card as your go against source, you're going to run into problems with pitch. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like any 0 for 4 D react really shuts that down. And that's something that I tried to adapt my deck list for. So let's take a look at that. This is the deck list that I've been running recently. So this is I've made several videos on this deck list. I've made a video talking about my RTN experience. I've also gone through the whole deck in a deck tech as well. And there's also a sideboard guide that I've written up for the patrons. As you can see, this deck list doesn't have a lot of the pumps that the I'm gonna call your deck like the traditional Dory deck, because this is what people have been running for actually several years now. Like Out for Blood, Stroke of Foresight, these are cards that have been around. Like Stroke of Foresight was around in the original set 10 sets ago. So yeah, this is these cards have been around for a while and they've been considered staples. But this current metagame, I think, is a little bit hostile towards running those. So, you know, as you can see, I'm running Rainbow Iron Song Response, and we're running Rainbow Overpower as the attack reacts. So have you gotten a chance to play with this deck a little bit? Has it felt different than your original list?
I played like a couple of games
Mm-hmm.
only,
Sure.
but yeah, I could see that there are a few things that are great. One thing that I loved it was the yellow overpower, which even though it sometimes forces me to keep
Mm-hmm.
to take all the damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the 5 pump is
Yes.
great against this sea of the reacts we see right now, right?
Yes. It's very common for your opponent to be like, huh. And look, especially you've only played online, right? You haven't played this in real life. In real
Yeah,
life,
this
when they
version
play,
I haven't.
you're gonna get some very funny looks. They're gonna be like,
Uh,
they're gonna read the card. They're gonna turn it around, read it, and then they're gonna look at their
uh,
hand, and
uh,
then they're gonna read it
uh.
again, and they're gonna be like, okay,
Okay.
and then they're
I
gonna
take it,
say,
right?
okay, I take 5, right? That's
Okay.
it happens a lot, right?
Okay, good.
And the key with Overpower is that in order to get value out of this card here, right? If
Mhm.
if if um if you just play Steelblade Supremacy, right? It costs 1 to give your weapon +2, right? So if they just block, let's think of the most extreme example. So the most extreme example is you have a blue and Steelblade Supremacy and no other cards, right? So
Okay.
if you play Steelblade Supremacy, pitch the blue, swing the weapon. This was a yellow sharpened steel, right? It was the yellow version of this card that costs 1, which is really
Yeah,
bad, right? So
exactly.
in order to get value out of this card, you need to attack twice, because then you're paying 1 for +4
Mm-hmm.
and draw a card, right? So
Right.
the thing is, whenever they see that, there's a joke in my local scene that whenever they see helmetless Dory, so no helmet Dory, so like this card is helmetless Dory, 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 and this card is helmetless Dory, this card too. Whenever they see
Mhm.
helmetless Dory, they block, right? And that's
Okay.
when people ask, "Hey Josh, how do I block Dorinthea?" I'm like, if she's in the art, you better block it. That's just the simplest way I could
Okay.
tell you. But
Mhm.
when people see Steelblade Supremacy, they're very incentivized to block it, and this is when they save their
Good.
D-Reacts for it, which is why we need essentially 5 copies of Overpower, right? Because
Mhm.
unless they have a big D-React, they're not blocking it, right? And then this is how we get
Mhm.
maximum value from this. And a lot of the value actually comes from her hero ability, right? The more times, I'm sure you've experienced this um, playing Dorinthea, the more times that you trigger this, the more times you win, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, every
Uh,
single time you can attack twice,
yeah,
that just
exactly.
correlates to victory, right?
It seems, and most times that that doesn't proc. It
Hmm.
means that I got hit on, blocked on the very first hit,
Exactly.
and I feel like I would be doing better if I had blocked with an extra card, right? Because
Correct.
I'm
Correct.
not going
And
through and not pushing damage, and
and this is
I'm progressing my game.
yeah, this is actually why I often recommend people to learn the game with Ira and Dorinthea, because
Hmm.
Dorinthea teaches you how to block. Like she's like a mid-range deck that blocks very well. You see this whole deck blocks for 3, right? So if you don't
Yeah.
draw the right hand, or if their turn is very threatening, you just block. You can get 12 value from your hand always. Um,
Hmm.
you can either get it by blocking for 12, or you can get it for blocking for 9 and swinging the Dawnblade back, right? So your lows are not as low as other decks, right? Because you're very consistent on that. Um, so you have taken a look at the deck. You have taken a look at the sideboard plans. Um, we
Hmm.
also discussed, some of the other sideboard plans, like against Dash and Bravo and such. But maybe you have some questions on a few of the matchups, or you would like me to talk more about the strategy and tactics for certain matchups.
Actually, there's one. I believe it's more general than just this deck, but
Sure.
there's a thing that I mentioned that I struggle a lot, which is
Mm-hmm.
uh, setting up. Right.
Sure.
I have I have a lot of difficulty to make a huge supremacy or a
Mm-hmm.
glistening turn,
Sure.
which can give me
Okay.
enough tempo or enough counters to proceed and dominate
Okay.
the match from there on.
Okay. Do you play any fighting games by any chance? Like video games?
Uh,
Did you play any
yeah,
Street Fighter or something?
at the noob level, but I
Yeah.
have played a couple. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So I just want to illustrate a point. So, um,
Hmm.
you so when we talk about combos, a lot of in Flesh and Blood, a lot of people think of the Bolton combo or the Kano combo or the Briar combo, but there's a lot of mini combos in this game. So I guess one of the most basic mini combos in this game is like Spoils of War, Twinning Blade,
Yeah.
Supremacy plus Valor, right? Uh, Singing Steel Blade plus pretty much anything, right? Or Valor plus Iron Song Response. These are all like combos that you can execute as Dory. So
Hmm.
basically you can go for two different types of offense, right? Um, there's kind of a turn to turn offense. So this is a style of offense you use against aggressive decks. So against aggressive decks, you don't really have time to set up, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you could get a energy potion on turn 0, maybe, but generally you don't have time to set up against aggressive decks, right? So you basically just have to go for mini combos. So that means like when you draw Valor plus a blue plus an Iron Song response, you would keep that, right? When you
Hmm.
draw, if they're really bad at blocking, keeping Valor plus Sharpen Steel plus a blue is also a good combo to keep, because for them to block 9 often requires 4 cards, right? So you're trading 3 cards for 4 cards. Um,
Hmm.
Whenever you see, Supremacy plus an Overpower plus 2 blues, that's a hand you're going to keep as well. So the way to improve the chances of getting these combos is by setting one of them into Arsenal. So arsenaling as Dorinthea is probably the most important thing, because it allows you to be more flexible on your draws. So let's imagine you have a Steelblade Supremacy in your arsenal and you draw 4 random cards,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Okay.
so we draw 4 random cards
Okay.
here. This hand is not good enough, right? So we would block probably 2 cards here, right? So we move on.
Okay.
Okay, we draw this. Let's assume that this is like a pump. This hand
Okay.
is again not quite good enough, so we just block. And then we come to this hand. This hand is perfect, right? This
Okay, so
hand,
so I
this
keep
hand gets
blocking until I have enough to move on to use it actually. Okay.
the you 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 block waiting for an opening, which can happen in two ways, right? The first is that your opponent's deck kind of stumbles. This can happen if they're playing a deck that's less consistent, right?
Yeah.
There's also many decks that can't utilize 4 cards. Even if you give them full tempo, sometimes you give Oldhim full tempo, all he does is send 8 damage back at you. That's it. And so you're like, okay, I take 8, and
Okay.
then you move on, right? And so this hand is very beautiful, right? If there's a Supremacy in Arsenal, because you pitch the hit and
Mm-hmm.
run, you play the
Okay.
Supremacy and swing,
So,
they're going to very likely block. So then you play Glint, you'll draw a card, and then you have enough resources to pay for these,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you draw a
Right.
blue, you can actually play them both. If you don't draw blue, you can use the Iron Song response to pay for the overpower. And so
Mm-hmm.
that'll break through, and then you'll get tempo from that, right? And so that's really the key, is that if you aren't arsenaling particular cards, you are never going to get this combo off correctly, because then you're just
Mm-hmm.
drawing a random hand, right? So that's how you combo against aggressive decks. So against defensive decks that like to go longer, and decks with a lot of D-reacts, um, the general way to do that is you set up a energy potion. That is the easiest way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some, so the very defensive decks often have a lot of armor as well. That's where cards like Iron Song Determination come in really, really handy, because this basically forces them to use their armor, or it forces them to use their D-react, which is good, right? So even things like Iron Song Pride against defensive decks are also good, because it can often, if we trade Iron Song Pride for a Sink Below, that's great for us, right? Like, there we have so many, pumps that eventually they're going to run out of their DRX, right? And so
Okay.
that's generally how you do it. You set it up so that you have an energy potion. You use cards like Iron Song Determination, Iron Song Pride, or just your pumps in general to wear them down. And then you keep a few key cards left in your deck. So key cards are Singing Steelblade. This creates a lot of threat. Twinning Blade.
Mm-hmm.
This combines with all your unconditional go again blues in the late game. And then, any of these reds would also be great, right? Valor, Supremacy, Spoils of War. When they don't have D-reacts, these cards are really, really strong, right? So that's kind of how it goes. This a a setup versus the control deck is a little bit different than the aggro decks. So against aggro decks, we
Mm-hmm.
just put something into Arsenal and we kind of wait for the right small combo, and we go for the small combo, take tempo, go for another small combo, take tempo. Against the control decks, we generally will just play the first cycle of the game, setting up an energy potion, playing out some cards to get their armor, and trying to maintain some resources in our deck for the second cycle, and then we punish them from there.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's
I
the
see.
general way to do it. Yeah. Obviously, all the matchups are completely different. So that's yeah. Is there any other questions you have about the deck or the matchups, or any other things you want to talk about? Then we'll go play some games.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think that it's already enlightening what you just said, because
Mm-hmm.
multiple times I was like playing Supremacy and
Mm-hmm.
hitting people, of course, over block it,
Mm-hmm.
and I find myself really often having to Twinning Blade, just not to triple hit, but just to go through
Through the
the wall of defenses
Yep.
and being able to hit from
Mm-hmm.
there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
one of the things that you can do playing as Dorinthea as well is, so one of the benefits of blocking this well is that you can take some time to understand what level your opponent is playing at, and what
Mm-hmm.
their tendencies are, right? So
Right.
the optimal way to play Dorinthea actually depends on how good your opponent is, as well as what their tendencies are. So some people, they will try to never give you reprise. So
Yeah.
they're kind of afraid of what will happen, so they don't give you reprise. So keeping a hand with Warrior's Valor and a blue is actually good, right? Because they weren't going to block anyways, right? There are certain people that will never block, right? There are
Right.
certain people that will block consistently. There are certain people that will overblock on certain things. And so that's
Hmm.
why you gotta, the first 10 seconds of a fighting game, you play footsies, right? You poke them,
Hmm.
poke them, poke them, see how they react to things, right? Same thing as Dorinthea. We will poke them with, Valor, spoils, and we'll kind of see how they
Hmm.
react to these things, right?
Okay. Yeah.
This is also
Right.
something IRL that you can really pick up. People will often be like visibly stressed when they don't have a D react. They will make
Yeah.
sounds or make motions like, oh, come on, right? And then you get some info. It's kind of like poker, right?
Right.
Dory's a lot like poker. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So okay. Yeah. Any other questions? If not, we can go play a couple games. And
Yeah. I think we can play.
okay, sure.
Uh,
So why don't you go to talishar.net and
okay.
stream to me on Discord, and
Sure.
then I'll watch from there, and
Okay.
I will ask you about your lines, and you can ask me about lines as well.
Sure.
So
Please tell me
let's.
whenever you're able to see it.
Yep, I see it. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm just using your list. Okay.
Yes, that's
Okay.
totally fine. Yep.
It actually makes sense
So,
then.
if there's a list that you want to play against, you can put that in the title of the game. If not, we can
Yeah.
just play against anything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I believe that I'm learning. So anything's good. There's a lot for to learn from every
Sure,
matchup. I think.
sure.
So.
Yeah, that this is something that if you become a specialist with Dory, this will greatly benefit you because
Hmm.
you will play the match. You'll play each matchup dozens of times, and that will really, really, really help over time.
Yeah.
Um, because like I said, Dory's a mid-range deck, so you have to understand what their deck wants to do and then understand how that interacts with your deck, right? The interaction
Right.
between your deck and the opponent's deck is really, really important.
I see.
Hmm.
Let's just wait until someone joins, right?
Sure. Okay, so um, general sideboarding principles. I I we were talking earlier today, and I think you generally
Yeah.
understand how to sideboard the deck. So the general sideboarding tips: you bring in the D reacts against particular matchups when you need them. You run the Iron Song determination when you go first, or when you need some extra 3 blocks, or just want more cards in your deck. Biting Blade is when you're likely to get reprise on it. It also combos well with Singing Steel Blade. Nourishing
Okay.
Emptiness is played in almost every matchup except for those with Codex of Frailty. Iron Song Pride is
Mm.
played when we go second against less aggressive decks, or just when we want to add extra cards against the control matchups, like against Icelander, Dramai, Bravo, etc. And then
Mm-hmm.
we have some extra sources that go again in Run Through and Driving Blade. And then
Sure.
Epot. We play Epot when we are going first, or when we're going second against a less aggressive list.
Okay.
And the this is a this is a this is a fairly complicated sideboard in terms of because it changes going first or second. Normally, most decks that just run the same 60 or 65 into everything.
Yeah, if I understand correctly, the ideal situation here would
Hmm.
be to create a matchup for each opponent, each hero, but
Yes,
twice. One for playing first, one the
correct,
other playing second.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Should I see if there's another game
Yeah. Why don't
created
you
there?
join a game? That might be easier than.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's Blitz. That's not the
Oh,
right one.
sorry. Sorry.
So
Yeah.
you can play against
Okay, I
Lexi,
can.
Bolton, or Lexi. So it's up to you.
Yeah. So let's go in Alexa match.
Sure. Okay. So against
I wanna
Lexi,
go
you
second.
want to go second, correct? Yeah.
Okay.
So do you
Yes.
understand why you want to go second?
To to be the one to give the pressure first, right? To
Correct.
make
Yep.
pressure first, right?
And Lexi is never going to deal damage to you on turn 0. Okay,
Yeah.
so the recommended sideboard for this is 3 Iron Song
Blade.
Determination. Yep.
Uh,
And the run throughs and
Blue.
the driving blades. Yep.
Run through and
So
drive.
the reason being, we need to play 60 cards. Iron Song
Okay.
Pride is very risky on turn 0. Energy Potion is also very risky because there's some turns where we have to block. Sink Below is okay if they're fuseless Lexi, but they may not be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so first thing when you start the game, you need to look at your opponent's armor and their weapon and equipment and
Mm-hmm.
see if there's anything, suspicious. This looks very normal. Um, they're also running 60 cards. So when Lexi presents exactly 60, we're pretty certain they're not running D-Reacts.
Okay.
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 Okay,
Good.
so have you played this matchup quite a bit, or is this?
Uh, no, actually, I
Mhm.
have played it once and with my list, which is a bit different. So,
Sure. Okay, so let me
uh,
talk to you a little bit about what Lexi's trying to do in this matchup. So Lexi is basically trying to set up a very, very large burst turn with 3 of a kind Rain Razors. They're going to use
mm-hmm.
their Snapdragons and Braveforge Bracer, or not Braveforge, Bullseye Bracer on that turn to basically get 3 or 4 arrows off, right? And so
Yeah.
it's very important to understand defensively what we want to do here. Okay, so uh, with this hand, we want to
Mm-hmm.
have. Uh, so you're going to be blocking with Overpower, obviously. But the question
Yeah.
is, what
Yeah.
is the
Right.
other card that we're going to block with? So
Yeah.
Supremacy is probably what we want to keep, because we could put that into Arsenal. Glistening Steel Blade is a card that um, you'd have to like wait for a Twitting Blade generally, or you
Mm-hmm.
want to set up a little bit more on that. So I would block with
So,
that as well. Yep.
yeah. Okay.
So
And
in
you sure
general,
you have a blue?
yep, exactly.
Okay.
So in general, we need to be selective with what we block and what we don't block, right? And
Okay.
so we need to understand the opponent's attack pattern, which is why one of the pieces of advice I give to people is that you should try to play every deck a couple times, because if you play
Okay.
Lexi a couple times, you'll have a good idea of what she wants to do. So if they throw this at us, we are going to have to block,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but it is what it is. So they gave it go again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So this indicates are they going to fire?
They will have.
So they can't. Oh, okay. They have 3 of a kind on turn 0. Okay, so we're going to have to block with our whole hand here, is what it is.
Yeah.
So I would actually block with the boots here.
Ah. Okay.
Yep.
So
The boots
boots.
plus the
Okay.
blue. The reason being
Okay.
is he's very, very likely to Snapdragon into Bullseye here.
Okay. Okay. I see.
if they want to push damage. If they don't, we get to keep our supremacy. So it looks like he didn't do it. So he's just going to get to Arsenal 1 card. So that's good for us.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm,
The reason why we have to block Pathing Helix is because it creates a situation where okay, so this hand
yeah.
uh
No blues.
that's fine.
Uh,
So what you can do here is gain tempo
yeah.
by playing. So what are your first thoughts when you see this hand?
Yeah, would be to play Sharpen Steel,
Mm-hmm.
pitch the Twinning Blade
Mm-hmm.
to present 6,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
trying to
so
arsenal the
so
supremacy.
that is what I would do against slower decks. Lexi is
Okay.
too fast, so I think we
Mm-hmm.
just have to play the supremacy here and the sharpened
Okay.
steel. I think we gotta put the pressure on very early.
Okay, so
Yep,
I pitch Twinning, right?
correct. You pitch the twinning and then play the sharpened steel.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
this basically says that they have to throw their whole hand down here. If they throw their
Yeah,
whole hand down here, that's fine.
we have tempo, right? If
Yep.
they do
If
so.
if they don't block this, we will blow bolt the boots to give it go again.
Okay.
So the reason why we would do so normally you want to save your boots as long as possible, but this
Mm-hmm.
matchup is so fast
So
that
fast. Okay.
okay, so look, so they didn't
Uh,
block. All right,
yeah.
so we're gonna pass reactions, and then we're gonna blow up boots.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so now we can bracer
So
and swing,
bracer. Right.
and then we'll have a choice of arsenal, which is very nice.
Yeah.
So let's say we draw a go again. Would you prioritize the? Okay, so this is a good example. Which one are you
Uh,
gonna prioritize in arsenal?
uh, that's difficult because this one is red, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to use as pitch, but this one
Mm-hmm.
is great with setup.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that I would probably set up the glistening, but you said it's just so quick that
I
overpower seems
I
better
I
to improve.
I think I would, because glistening is actually the card we care about more. I think we put the overpower into the arsenal because we may
Okay.
crown it away. If they present
Okay.
a turn with so much damage, okay, this hand is very very good. This
Okay.
hand is very
So
very good. So uh so what we're looking to do this turn
looking to.
is use our armor. Yep, we're looking to
Yeah.
use our courage this turn.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're gonna be looking at their attack pattern and trying to recognize um, what on hits we care about. So cards like Searing Shot, we don't care. Cards like Infecting Shot, we don't care, because Searing Shot just says on hit 1 extra damage. Infecting Shot says
Mm-hmm.
on hit 2 extra damage. Damage
Okay.
doesn't matter, right?
Oh,
So
what would we care in that case?
we're gonna care about things like Endless Arrow, Bolt and Shot, Hamstring Shot would be annoying for us because that means it costs an extra energy here. So let's
Okay.
see what they do here. So they activated Voltaire, pitched Frostlock, loaded Pathing Helix, gave it an extra attack. So that means they're going to use their Snapdragons this turn. Nope. Okay, they undid their turn. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, so with our current hand,
Mm-hmm.
I think what we want to do is we either crown away the Valor or we crown away the Overpower. Um, both are fine.
Okay.
So Pathing Helix, read Pathing Helix. So you say if there's no cards in Arsenal, right? What does Pathing Helix say again? If there's
if
yeah.
you have no cards in your arsenal, you may put a card from you.
So this
Yeah.
has no on hit effect.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay, so there we go. So he's
now.
playing this up. Okay, so this is a arrow that we care about. Now he could have Rain Razors here. If he has Rain Razors, that's okay. So I think you were correct on hovering over the courage plus the crown. Yep.
Okay.
Now the question is, do you think we should crown the overpower away or crown the valor away?
I usually would crown the overpower because we
Yep,
have like
I also
uh
agree.
yeah, maximum 2 pitch here
Hmm.
to do this
I,
and
I agree
we're
with you as
missing blue.
well. Yep.
Okay.
So let's move the overpower out of the way. So another thing why Crown of Prov, oh, there, perfect.
Right.
Now we have a blue.
Yeah.
So now actually we don't have to keep our whole hand because uh, there's no way for him to stop
Mhm.
Glistening Steel Blade plus Ironsong Determination or
Okay.
Warrior's Valor
Give it
Ironsong
a go.
Determination. Yep. So
Yeah.
yep, he's gonna give it a go again. He's gonna throw another arrow at us most likely. So
Okay.
he did not. So the, here's a hand reading tip here, right? So he clearly doesn't have Rain Razors here, right? He would have played it
Mhm.
earlier. Okay, so pay 3 or discard. So we have to.
Uh,
So I think we're going to just discard.
discard,
So say,
right?
yep.
Discard the idle sound response, right? Okay,
There's.
or the determination.
I
Not sure.
would. No, you need to keep the determination. So
Yeah, so response, right?
I think you throw the response away. Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
So your next
makes sense.
turn can be glistening determination swing, uh, which he
Uh-huh.
won't be able to stop unless he gives you new horizons. So
Okay. Here
uh,
I just take four.
here you
Or
just take 4. He's gonna get to put something into arsenal. Could be
okay.
annoying, but we need to keep this whole hand because we want to have an arsenal at the end of the next turn. So if he,
Okay, so
yeah,
he's playing Death Touch.
yep.
Uh,
So this might change our plan. So we're not going to block this either. But if he gives us a frailty, we have to play Valor
okay.
because our attack is not coming in for enough.
Blocking three. Okay.
Yep. So he gave us a frailty. So instead of playing Glistening Determination Swing, we're going to play Valor
Valor.
Determination Swing. The reason being is if we go Glistening Determination Swing, our attack is only going to be for 4. And he can block
Yeah.
with an Arrow plus Tunic. Yep. Which
Okay.
is fine. We can have the Glistening for next turn. Totally fine.
Okay.
Yep. So we're still doing good on armor. We still have, a decent amount here. And he's off an arsenal, which means his next turn is going to be very weak.
Okay.
So the key to kind of looking at Lexi's hands is basically like if Lexi has 4
4
cards,
cards.
it's never going to be a big turn. If it's 5, it's rarely a big turn. But if they're set
Okay.
up with 6 cards, it could be big. Yep.
Even with a possible three of a kind,
Um.
wouldn't.
Well, the even if they have 3 of the kind, they would have to use the bracers to give it a third reload, basically. So,
Ah, okay.
yep, the bracers kind of allows them to move a card into arsenal, but yeah. Okay, another very good hand. In fact, this hand can hit 3 times.
Yeah.
This hand
Breaking
is
these.
this hand is so good we won't block unless there's something desperate needs to be blocked. So,
Okay.
do you see how this hand hits 3 times?
Uh, give it a go again here. A hit, pitching the overpower.
Correct.
I can hit again, giving go again with glint
Yep. And
and
then
twinning blade at
correct.
reaction, and then the
Hmm.
third time, right?
And you can pay for all of that with courage.
Without breaking courage, right?
You have to break courage because
Uh,
unless you
oh, oh yeah, 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 yeah. You're right.
unless you pitch the
Because
Iron
that's
Song
one.
response. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, makes
Okay,
sense.
so they're throwing Chilling Ice Vein at you. So some I wanted to point this out earlier. So your opponent is playing some amount of ice cards, which means they're
Mhm.
trying to be more disruptive, which is actually good for our deck. Our deck actually performs better against the Ice Lexi, like the 6 to 9 ice card Lexi than the pure um
Mhm.
pure version. Okay, so here we need to consider very carefully. So if we let this hit, our opponent will get to fire 2 more arrows here,
Right.
right? But our hand is just so good that we kind of just let it happen.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
and we
And
have
we have plenty of
health.
life. Yep. So we
Yeah.
just say, sure, get your free reload here. So normally we block bolt and shot. But this
Yeah,
hand is
I
so
like
good.
blocking this too. Yeah.
This hand is so
Okay.
good, and you have 2 counters. It doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
actually, I believe
Hmm.
playing alone, I
Hmm.
would do something like blocking with an Iron Song,
Hmm.
in, somewhere in the chain,
Well,
right?
I think you want to keep the Iron Song here because if they don't respect the glistening on your first attack,
Hmm.
uh, it's can get bad. Okay, so if this is fused, okay, it's not going to be fused, so we're okay.
Okay.
Frostlock is a card that is somewhat annoying for our deck because we have a lot of 0 cost cards.
Yeah.
But they're just going to play Codex and then fire Death Touch plus. Okay, they're going to keep Frostlock for next turn, so that's fine. Sure.
Okay, so just take it, right?
Yeah, we're just taking it here. They're going to give us a second Frailty,
Mm.
which is a little bit annoying, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. 3. Okay. But we have this to pump.
Yep.
Block. Okay.
So the
Okay. They have the tunic, so they can shot this. But
they didn't have go again. The Death Touch didn't have go
okay.
again.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
They're just they're gonna set up for next turn
Arsenal.
basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay, so
from
the very
Arsenal. Okay.
yeah they didn't want to arsenal that card, which is fine for us. Okay, so the first thing we do is break courage and play glistening and then see what they do. Yep, pitching the overpower. So if they block 3-on-3, we play Iron Song Response. If they block 6-on-3, we play Twinning Blade.
Right.
If they block 9-on-3, they just lose the game.
Yeah.
We play Twinning Blade and they lose the game. So, okay. So this is the correct block from them. This is good from them.
Okay.
That was very good from them. But it doesn't matter, so we're going to do it again. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
And we just pass priority here.
Mm.
And swing again.
Again.
So now they have to give us... So they have a choice here. They might not actually be able to give us 6. They might have a 2-block in hand. If they have a 2-block in hand, they're in a lot of trouble.
If somehow they do a double block, let's say, is it correct to use the glint to draw one and see if we can get through?
I think so, because if you draw any
pump, right?
any Iron Song Response or route, you would get through. And there's probably 6 or 7 of those cards in the deck.
Okay.
Yep. And if you don't
Actually,
draw it,
even if I draw an overpower, I can.
You can, yes.
Use
Oh,
it
you're right.
pitching,
Yes,
pitching.
yes, you're right. Because you activated courage this turn, so it's definitely worth it. So your opponent's in a very, very hard spot here.
Exactly.
So there was a little bit of a read from last turn. They might not have wanted to arsenal that card because they might want to block with New Horizons. Maybe I'm not exactly sure.
Nah.
So they might be thinking about throwing Tunic here, which is correct. Okay, so they did the correct move again. Let's see if we get lucky. Even if we don't get lucky, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Oh, also, if we draw Twinning Blade, this also is... Okay. Okay, so we didn't. That's okay. Yeah. We just arsenal the Iron Song Response, is fine.
Okay.
Yep. Never lucky. But that's okay.
Yeah.
We win the game with our skill, not with our luck, right? Okay, so we have full tempo right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a excellent hand against them. Oh, man. Yep. This hand plays itself. Yep. Mm-hmm. So Sharpened Steel is one of those cards that punishes decks like Lexi who run a lot of 2-blocks, because this is coming in for 8, and this is not easy to stop.
Right.
Like when their deck there are more arrow focused decks that can block decently. So here we're just gonna bracer swing.
Breather thing. Okay.
Yep. So the reason we bracer swing here instead of because
Because.
he didn't show that he wanted to block on the first one. So now we put this at a break point. So
Mm-hmm.
coming in for 4 is like a massive pain in the ass for him.
Right. Yeah. And make sure we don't end with that card, right?
Yep,
Because
exactly.
if they don't block it, we just have
It's
zero
completely
power.
dead. Correct, correct. So I think the correct move from your opponent is to not block this. If they know you're on my list, they should. If they know you have no
Yeah.
+3 pump,
Okay.
they shouldn't block this. But okay, so he's respecting you,
Okay.
giving you 2 cards. Uh,
So just
um,
get
you
a counter.
can. What do you think? It's close here. You get
Oh,
a
if they
counter. I think
counter,
getting the
yeah.
I think getting the counter is worth it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Just to understand,
Mm-hmm.
I see that
Mm-hmm.
you thought about not doing it, and this is
Yes.
something that didn't
Yes.
even went through my mind. So
Mainly because if I draw a hand with like multiple go agains and
okay.
no pump, then I would
The third.
that having an arsenal kind of makes it smoother. Okay, so this hand doesn't have go again, which is a big problem here. Um,
Yeah.
so we're just gonna try to depend. We're probably just gonna block here and then play for the next hand.
Okay. So we accept that we'll be losing the counter.
Yes, we're
Okay.
very likely to just try to block our whole hand here. We might
Okay.
keep one. It's actually the best play here is to keep one card and swing back because they don't have any armor, so they'd have
Yeah.
to give us 2 cards, right? So Heat
Right.
Seeker.
We're
Um,
in fate.
yes. So this is a card we would
Oh,
want to block. So
we would like to block,
we
right?
would like to block this.
Okay.
Now the question is, do we use our bracers here, or do we
Uh,
give 2 cards? I think it's close.
uh,
So
uh, uh,
so I think you give the bracers here because
we're
the only
life
card that
threshold is.
the only card that punishes you for doing this way is Endless
Mm-hmm.
Arrow. So
Okay.
if he has it, we'll
Yeah.
just block it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. I still don't have this kind of read of, for
Mm-hmm.
example, okay, I'm being punished if they have an
Mm-hmm.
endless arrow,
Yeah,
right?
this is why I recommend you
Uh,
to play a little bit of
mm-hmm. Yeah,
everyone.
sure.
Okay, so they're gonna pitch Art of War and swing Frostlock at us. Okay, so this does not have go again, but it was fused. So that means if it hits you,
It's
you can't
pay
pitch
additional.
or play cards with cost 0. Right? That's fine.
So I
So
keep the overpowering
yes.
him.
So what I would do here is block with the Iron Song response. So you're gonna arsenal the Iron Song determination basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's fine if you get hit here for 1.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know.
Yep. So there is a
I just hit here, right?
yeah. So you just swing here. I think some people would also say it's okay to Iron Song determination swing, but
For
I
5.
would rather. Right now, you're bluffing that you have a +3 pump.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So your opponent is either gonna give you New Horizons, or they're gonna block. Yeah.
Okay,
So this is
right,
totally fine. That's totally fine.
great.
So now we
Okay.
actually have a kill set up next turn. So if we
Mm-hmm.
draw any go again, he's dead
And
next turn. If we draw an overpower +2 blues, he's dead next turn. So
go again,
yeah.
go again.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're good. We're good. Okay, Frostbite is very annoying here.
Frostbite.
That's very annoying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh. Wait, let me see. Yeah,
So
I'm thinking being
so
like
you
listening.
correct. That's the correct way to do this. So you would pay in case he has a second winner's bite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to try to hold on to the rest of these cards if possible.
Okay.
Because this hand actually kills him. So we need 2 resources for Dawnblade, 1 for the Frostbite, 1 for Valor. That's 4 resources, and then Braveforge Braces is 5 resources, right? So we can yep. So this one doesn't matter. It doesn't have go again. He'll get it back into his hand, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't even have resources floating, so he can't even this normally Endless Arrow we block, but this one in this case doesn't matter. All he can do is arsenal one of them, and he actually has a dead card.
Okay, so you were making a count here, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You mentioned.
The Frostbite counts as 1.
Okay, two hits from Downblade.
Yep.
Okay, I see it.
Yep. So Valor is cost 1.
Valor with Precision Press.
Correct.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, Precision Press because we will. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you pitch here, but just in case he has a D-React in Arsenal, maybe it does.
Yeah. Okay. And
okay, so this is coming in for 7 here with Dominate. He can block for 3. Maybe 5 with New Horizons.
Yep. Have go again, and then.
Yep. Bracer Swing is going to be for 5. Okay. Yep. So he basically has to give us New Horizons here to survive, or else he will be exactly dead. Yep.
Okay.
So that's fine. He takes 2. We Bracer and Swing, and then he'll take another 2.
Great. Yeah.
And he will have 2 cards left, and we will have a counter plus basically full tempo if we can use our whole hand. He's also shown that he's playing Art of War and Rain Razors. It's possible his next hand doesn't have a card that blocks.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Wow.
He's also running cards like Arctic Incarceration that block for 2. Yep.
Yeah, I actually never saw Alexi running those. Not sure if it's common right now.
Art of War is a little it's neither common nor uncommon. Rain Razors is an auto 3 of. Yep. Okay, so he's going to take 2 damage here, go to 2. And yep. And this hand wins the game.
Okay.
All right, good game.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what he does here. Okay. Well, here, if he gives this go again, we actually do want to block with Bracers plus
a card, okay.
Plus
go again. Yeah.
Singing Steel Blade is fine, I guess. Either one.
Either one, you think?
Either one is fine. The Iron Song response technically is better, yes. Because you can grab reaction. Yeah. So. Yep. So. But he's dead, so it doesn't matter. GG. So this was very, very, very typical of how this matchup goes, right? So so key things to understand here is what is the threat level of their turn, and what might they possibly do, and then how threatening is our turn? What's the likelihood that they block? And yeah, this was good.
Yeah.
GG. Oh. Okay, so now you can respond to this, so that's fine.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that is rare. Okay. Art of War +1
I
defense. Wow. So you can just play this and then go grab a Iron Song response, and then he dies.
Yeah.
So. Yep. Just the red ones. The red one works. Yep. And so this will be 7 against 4. Or 8 against. No, 8 against 4. 9 against. Oh, it has Iron Song Determination plus a counter. My bad. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well played.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. This with you, I can
Mhm.
see now that we want to be a lot faster than I played the last time this matchup,
Yes.
right? So.
Yes. So the reason why we have to be fast is Codex of Frailty is too much value. If they
Mm-hmm.
play one, we have a chance of not. Yeah, we have a chance of. If they play just one, we're actually probably favored. If they play two, we're slightly unfavored. If they play three, we probably have lost the game, right?
Oh,
So
I see.
let's look at his arrows that he threw at you. Do you see how we can kind of classify them as we care or don't care? Like endless arrow
Yeah.
we care about,
What's
headshot we don't care about, searing shot we don't care about,
uh
remorseless we generally don't care about because normally we play just
mm-hmm.
one action
Oh,
card.
one extra. Right.
So it's just remorseless just says deal one extra damage. Pathing
Okay.
helix sometimes we care about.
Because can give a lot of potential for his
Yep.
next
Mm-hmm.
turn, right? Okay.
Yep. Heat seeker
Okay.
sometimes we care about. Chilling ice vein we're
I
either
see.
we're forced to care about it sometimes. If they
Mm-hmm.
fuse it, we just have to block, right? Bolton shot on rain razors, 3 of a kind turns, we obviously care about. Infecting shot, we don't care about. Death touch, we generally don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
But death touch is kind of in the middle. If sometimes we care about getting to frailty, sometimes we don't.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
let's
see.
play. Let's play
Oh,
another game.
okay. So Uzuri right now.
Sure.
Oh,
This one, oh, well, let's just refresh.
cool. Okay.
Well, how
So.
about this? So under the game name, if you want to play against something, you can type it in there and say under
Mm-hmm.
game name. You can say
Yeah.
like Bravo,
Oh,
please, dash, please,
yeah.
whatever you want to play against.
Yeah.
Think
Actually, as I
what is your
mentioned,
meta like over there?
uh, a lot of dash, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
a few Bravo players.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what else? Now some Uzuris and Lexis are appearing right
Okay,
now. I
sure.
believe so. I can do like
Dash, Bravo, please.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, bro, yeah. A lot of Dromize as well,
Yep.
as I showed you, right?
Yep.
Dromai. What else? Uzuri and that's fine.
Lexi,
Okay,
or
actually,
okay, sure.
Lexi. Yeah, another Lexi. It's okay.
Yeah,
And
we can
Aziga,
play
yeah.
against Lexi twice if you want.
Yeah, don't worry. Okay, so right deck. Okay.
You made it as private, so you're gonna have to go back
Okay.
public.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Yep.
That explains a lot from the one previous one.
Yeah. You
Bra.
might have made a private game and I didn't notice. Dromai
Drama.
and Azuri.
You're good.
Yep.
Okay.
I
Okay.
encourage Dorinthea players when they get more familiar with the deck to tune the deck to their meta. Okay,
So
this is great.
here,
Yep,
I want to play first, right?
correct. You would want to play first, right? Okay,
We were discussing it.
so
So
we would add the
pause.
epots, we would add the nourishing, we'd add the determination, we'd add the biting
And
blade,
blade. That's
and
it.
I
Okay.
would personally add the the Iron Song Prides.
I don't surprise. Okay.
Yep,
Okay. Let's give it a try. These
yep, and the
with decks that block a lot, I
mm-hmm.
don't use to.
Yep, and this equipment is fine.
Okay.
So the key to Dory versus Dash, this is a matchup where you're not going to be blocking a lot. Okay, so first of all, your opponent's playing with a Iron Wrought Helm, so I'm not sure how serious they are.
Okay.
So this may not be a super serious game, but we can still talk about the fundamentals of this matchup, right?
Sure.
So,
Right.
Again, very first thing I look at is what did they present to me? They presented induction chamber and Teklo pistol. Okay, so that means they're
Mm-hmm.
more controlling. They presented
Mm-hmm.
the arms that block for 1. So they
Right.
currently have 4 armor, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's two schools of thought here. Uh,
Okay.
you can Arsenal pass, or you can try to get rid of a few cards from their deck. I think I lean towards getting rid of a few cards from their deck.
Okay, so I just
So
play offensive here
yeah, so I would go
with.
Sharpen Steel, Valor, Swing. So the reason being in this matchup, um, it often comes down to the Dash having less than 10 cards in their deck. Um, and this just, basically trades out a few for them. Okay,
Okay.
and we can Arsenal that, which is fine. Okay, so this hand is a. Okay, so.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, so they're just
Yeah.
going to spark
Or-
for. They're going to pitch 2 cards here. They're going to Arsenal a card.
Yeah.
Interesting. So he pitched a sink below. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay. Plus, this is bad, right? Because our blocks are 3, so.
the Plasma Purifier doesn't do anything unless there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
It moves his pistol from 2 to 3, but our whole deck blocks for 3, so it doesn't
another
matter.
go again or.
I thought they
restart
were.
seems to be.
I mean, eventually he needs all the items anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
With this hand, what's your initial thoughts on this hand?
3, 1, 2. It's hard to use the biting blade, so I would probably spoils
So I'm thinking.
and hit.
I'm leaning
Try to-
towards the glistening steel blade actually.
Okay.
The reason being is if they this will give us a lot of information about what we would pitch the blue here. This gives us a lot of information about what type of player we're up against, right?
Okay.
So we
spoils both.
No, I would not. I would
No.
not. Yeah, there's no need. There's no need to give double pumps like that. Especially because Dash blocks pretty well. So this is kind of a test here. We're basically poking him, saying, "All right, what are you going to do with this?"
Okay.
So this will give us a lot of information about what type of player he is. So we just found out what type of player he is. So this is why we play Biting Blade.
Yeah. Right?
Yes. So we would go with Biting Blade, pitch the overpower. Yep. So we're over by 1, and we get to swing again for 4.
Yeah.
So if he has a
counters.
if he has a D react, he would play it there. So he doesn't have a D react. So now we can swing, and he's gonna have to give us a card plus armor.
Right.
Or 2 cards. It's totally fine. Okay. So we can just Arsenal the Spoils of War, which is good because Spoils of War combos with a lot of things like Twinning Blade. Look at that, perfect.
Okay.
So there's a very sneaky way to play this hand.
Sneaky. Let me see.
Let's see if you can see the sneaky way to play this hand.
Okay. Spoil, Sharpen Steel, Overpower, Hit. I can break 3 times. Like go again, buffing, hit. Go again, buff, hit.
So
and if they block it, Twinning Blade.
So the I think you're overthinking it slightly. The sneaky way I was thinking was to play the Sharpen Steel on the second hit.
Okay.
So you go Spoils of War from Arsenal, swing. If he overblocks, we play Twinning Blade and then Sharpen Steel and swing. And then Arsenal the Spoils of War.
Okay, I see it. Yeah.
Right? So this is us being sneaky here. You see he full blocks here? Okay. Oh, max punish here. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yep. So Twinning Blade, excellent usage here. So now we can go Sharpen Steel, swing. And then we'll still have Spoils of War for next turn.
And keep the counter, right?
We keep the counter. Again. We keep the counter. We dealt 7 damage, and we get an Arsenal. We don't want to give it a go again. No, we just Arsenal.
Yeah. No, of course not. Yeah. Yep. I was just.
Oh, look at this hand. Look at this hand.
Yeah, you see ultra fast.
This.
My thought process is not as fast, so.
That's okay. So So we have Spoils of War Twinning Blade again.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I think I would just play out Supremacy, Spoils of War, swing. Very likely he blocks for 12. We play Twinning Blade.
Okay.
Break Courage, swing. Break Bolter, swing. And he might just leave the game.
Yeah.
Based on how he's blocked the last 2 times, he's
Yeah.
probably 12
He
blocking.
will go to
He
12
will 12
blocking.
block.
Yeah.
If he can.
Okay,
Oh,
he didn't.
okay, that's fine. So he has a
Okay.
D-React, so let him play his D-React. He has Unmovable here. Or not.
Okay. Okay, now.
Okay, that's fine.
Uh,
Okay, so what did we draw?
okay.
We drew a red. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Tracer, or we can threat overpower by
so there's
again.
several ways to do this. So we have to figure out why did he not block last turn or last
Uh,
attack. So
Perhaps an item he
perhaps he
wants to
has
play.
multiple items
Yeah.
or it's a misplay.
Yeah. Okay.
But we have to figure out which one of those that it is. So my gut feeling here is to brace or swing with the yellow, and then Iron Song response to ensure the hit.
Okay.
So the reason we do it like this is because this forces reprise. Yep.
Okay. Great.
Yep. So now we have a choice of arsenal here.
I believe we take it. Okay.
Okay, he's just gonna give up. That's fair. Okay,
Okay.
so we were aggressive. We did what we came to do. So in this matchup, generally you're not gonna block. The reason you don't want to block is because the way to break Dash is, so if you think about Dash's deck, Dash has 60 cards, right? Dash has at least 4 or 5 no blocks in their deck. So when they draw those no blocks, that means they're only blocking for 9. So if we can, and if they want to deploy the item, they're only blocking for 6.
Yeah. For 6,
So
right.
so we want to be on offense 15 turns in a row. Because if we're on offense 15 turns in a row, the dash is going to draw those hands with the item, and then it's going to be really, really put them to the spot where, like, do they...
Okay.
Like,
I tried to transform it in kind of a wraith. She's trying to control it, but
she's
I
trying to
try to
control your aggression, but you have to, like, look at the Dash's deck. Like, she's just... The way that her game plan is induction chamber, plasma purifier, pistol, shoot you, 15 times with the pistol, basically. Yeah. Which means you basically never have to block. You can play 5-card hands again and again and again and again. So, as long as you can play out your hand, you basically keep every hand that you can. And because your deck has so much go again, so much pump, the Dash player has to have a defensive card every single turn, and that just doesn't happen. Their deck just is not as built that way. Unless they're the Tree Frog Dash, which is like the ultra defensive Dash. In which case, I mean, your game plan stays the same. So, yeah. Okay. Why don't we wrap this up a little bit? So, do you have any, final questions that you want to ask me, or, anything you want to go over, and we can do that.
So sometimes I'm playing with Overpower, which is a card that I haven't been using much, right? In summary, if we're just keeping it if we draw a double blue, right? Something to go again, and
you would
try to.
You keep Overpower when you draw double blue, and you have a threat. So the threat would be things like Warrior's Valor, Spoils War, or the best one is Supremacy, right? Or Glistening Steelblade is also fine, right? So the Overpower is not that great if you don't have a threat. So the reason Overpower is really good is because it forces them to block, so we get the reprise, and it doesn't matter, we break through anyways. So don't be afraid to block with your Overpowers. Just think of them as like ways to ensure that your powerful cards hit.
Hmm. Yeah, I can tell from the first game that I probably was playing some matchups much slower than I should.
Hmm.
So I'll try to give a focus on it, try to see
Hmm.
if I can uh, trade
Yep.
if I trade more damage and try to be more aggressive in
Hmm.
general.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. The
okay.
Dorinthea can be built very quick, very slow. That's the
Mhm.
beauty of being a mid-range deck is that you block for 3 and you also attack pretty dang well as well. So and there's consequences. So your opponent basically can say no blocks
I
once,
see.
twice. So if your opponent says no blocks twice, what's the situation? They are probably below 20 health, and you have
Mm.
2 counters on your weapon.
Yeah. Right.
And so now they can't say no blocks anymore, right? So you're basically Dorinthia basically forces them to interact with you, um, which just enables our game plan. So yeah.
Okay.
Any
Yeah. Great.
other any other questions you have?
No, I believe at the moment no.
Would
Probably I
would you
need
like
to play a little.
mhm.
Sorry.
Would
Go
you
ahead.
like me to tune your decks or tune the deck slightly for your metagame? You said there's some dash and bravo, so I'm so my first thought is if there's dash and bravo, um, how many Jeremiahs are there in your metagame? Would you say there's a
I
decent amount?
believe the most part of the field is Dormice. I almost
Oh, really?
never pair
Uh-huh.
with them, but there's a lot.
There's a lot of
Because
Jeremiahs, but you never pair with them.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay. So I
yeah,
okay. So
but
so then the current
yeah,
configuration I
as
think is fine. Right.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. You can have a few goes with the deck at your armory. Let me know how
hmm,
that goes. If you have any questions, obviously I'm available to ask anytime.
sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Just I
So
want to thank you.
yep. No problem. Anytime. Yeah. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'd be happy to help you with anything.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks a
All
lot.
right.
Okay.
See ya. Take care.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
Yep.